Mark Lowry became born on June 24th, 1958 in Houston, Texas. From a younger age, he turned into complete of energy, humor, and a deep love for track. He grew up in a warm Christian home together with his mother and father, Charles and Beverly Lowry, and his siblings. His father was an entitled legal professional, and his mom turned into a committed homemaker and a skilled pianist who often stuffed their domestic with track. It was on this nurturing surroundings that Mark's passion for making a song and appearing first began to take form. As a toddler, Mark was acknowledged for being active and talkative. His teachers frequently needed to remind him to live focused due to the fact he loved making his classmates laugh. He had a natural capability to convey joy to others, even at a young age. However, he wasn't only a magnificent clown. He had a deep and thoughtful side too. He often pondered spiritual questions and loved the tales of faith that his dad and mom taught him. Music became a regular presence in Mark's formative years. His mother played the piano at church, and Mark speedily advanced an ear for harmony and melody. He commenced making a song in church at an early age, and it had become clear that he had an extremely good voice. His parents advocated his skills, enrolling him in track classes and assisting his performances at church activities. By the time he was a teenager, Mark was already developing right into a gifted singer. Despite his expertise, Mark confronted challenges developing up. He was recognized with hyperactivity, a situation that made it tough for him to take a seat, nevertheless, or listen for long intervals. School turned into once in a while a battle. However, song became his outlet. Singing allowed him to channel his power in an effective and meaningful manner. He observed solace in appearing, and the stage had become an area in which he felt absolutely at domestic. Mark's first flavor of professional making a song got here while he joined a Christian teenagers group that traveled and completed at churches throughout the United States of America. He loved the experience of journeying and sharing his faith via tune. His brief wit and humor made him a herbal entertainer, and he often found himself making audiences among songs. Mark Lowry's journey into tune and ministry took a defining flip. When he reached college, he attended Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, to begin with intending to emerge as a pastor. However, at some stage in his time at Liberty, he realized that his real calling turned into Christian track. He started out writing songs and appearing frequently, developing his craft as both a singer and a comedian. Mark's huge run got here within the past due 1980s when he became invited to join the Gaither vocal band. His precise combination of effective vocals and comedic storytelling made him an instantaneous fan favorite. During this time, he wrote one of the maximum-liked Christmas songs of all time, Mary, Did You Know? What started out as an easy poem evolved into a undying conventional recorded by countless artists and loved throughout generations. Looking returned. Mark's early life laid the inspiration for the whole thing he would end up. The hyperactive boy who struggled to take a seat nonetheless had grown into a dynamic performer, able to transferring audiences with each his voice and his humor. The elegance clown who cherished making humans giggle had discovered a manner to apply his gift to spread pleasure and faith. His upbringing in a Christian domestic surrounded by way of tune and love shaped him into the artist and storyteller he's nowadays. Through it all, Mark remained true to the classes he learned in his early years: faith, own family, and the strength of laughter. Mark Lowry had always been recognized for his humor, his powerful voice, and his unwavering faith. But one occasion in his life tested all of that, during a manner he in no way should have imagined. A severe automobile coincidence that nearly ended his career, and more importantly, his existence. It turned into a rainy afternoon in October 1984, and Mark was traveling on the highway, heading to any other live performance. At the time, he became nevertheless building his profession as a Christian singer and comic, performing at church buildings and occasions across the USA. The avenue becomes slick from the recent storm and visibility become negative. As he drove, his thoughts become filled with thoughts approximately the upcoming performance, track ideas, and as usually, ways to make humans chortle. Suddenly, within the blink of an eye fixed, the whole lot changed. A car in front of him skidded, and as Mark instinctively hit the brakes, his car hydroplaned. The automobile spun out of manage, crossing lanes at an alarming velocity. The closing issue, Mark remembered, became the terrifying sight of an oncoming truck before the whole thing went black. When he regained cognizance, he became mendacity at the bloodless, wet pavement surrounded by flashing lighting fixtures and the muffled voices of paramedics. The ache turned into overwhelming. His body felt as though it had been beaten beneath a weight too exceptional to undergo. He could slightly flow, and while he tried to speak, only a faint whisper escaped his lips. Mark had suffered multiple accidents, a damaged nostril, fractured ribs, and deep cuts across his face and body, but the maximum excessive injury was to his vocal cords. The effect had brought about huge trauma to his throat, and medical doctors warned that he may never sing the same manner once more. For a person whose voice became his livelihood, his ministry, and his passion, the news became devastating. As he lay within the health facility beds, suffering with ache and uncertainty, Mark faced one of the darkest moments of his lifestyles. For weeks he ought to barely speak, not to mention sing. The docs advised him restoration might take time, but there has been no guarantee that his voice would return to its former power. Fear gripped him. Would he ever be able to carry out again? Would the dream he had pursued on account of that early life slip through his arms? During those painful months, Mark discovered comfort in his religion and the unwavering support of his own family and friends. His mother Beverly stayed by his side, praying with him every day. His father reassured him, reminding him that God had a purpose even in struggling. Messages of affection poured in from fans, fellow musicians, and church communities throughout the United States of America. He wasn't alone in his war, and that made all the distinction. Despite the ache, Mark refused to give up. With the assist of vocal therapists, he began the sluggish and painful system of retraining his voice. Each "be aware" felt like an uphill conflict, however, he was determined. He leaned into his religion more than ever, earlier then, believing that God had delivered him via the twist of fate for a purpose. Months passed, and his voice progressively regained power. Though it was in no way pretty the same, Mark found something unexpected. His voice carried even greater intensity and emotion than before. The joy had modified him, not just bodily, but spiritually. He had walked through the valley of uncertainty and come out on the alternative side with a deeper information of grace, resilience, and the electricity of perseverance. When he subsequently returned to the stage, it was with a renewed feel of cause. He shared his testimony, the usage of his signature humor to lighten the heavy topic, whilst reminding audiences of God's faithfulness. The accident had taken tons from him, but it had additionally given him something priceless. A new attitude on existence, religion, and the significance of in no way taking a single moment without any consideration. Looking again, Mark often jokes about the coincidence, saying that it gave him a crooked smile and a lot of new cloth for his comedy. But deep down, he is aware of it was one of the maximum defining moments of his lifestyles. It was an ordeal that might have ended his profession, but alternatively shaped him into the artist, speaker, and man of faith he is nowadays. Through it all, Mark held on to the perception that even inside the worst of occasions, God had a plan.